All right. So for those of you out there who have subscribed and are following us along on this F450 electrification project, we want to thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. Thank you for showing interest in what it is that we do. We really appreciate it. Not only is this a moment for us to teach, but it's also for us to learn. A lot of what's being done is it's new to us and apparently a lot of people out there. We're not saying it hasn't been done before. What we're saying is we haven't seen it. And there's not a roadmap for us to follow. So we got to kind of figure this out and draw it up as we go along. We have a website. It's www.seloceng, that's CELOC ENG, short for CELOC Engineering.com. It's up and running. We haven't made it to where it's really interactive yet. We're working on building it so it's more interactive, and we'll have products that we can offer for those DIYers out there. And also, we're going to put up some PDF instructions for the items that we do offer. And also, we'll make sure that we're more active on it so that we answer any questions or any concerns that you guys have. We do know that it's people out there that are actively following, because we do read the comments. And a lot of what we don't answer, it's not because we don't care or it's not of concern to us. Feedback, good or bad, matters, because everything that you say is for a reason, and we do understand that. So if we haven't answered any questions that you said yet, we do apologize. We're going to make sure that we get to you as soon as we can. We've just got a few projects going on other than this F450. We've got about 4 or 5 other ones going. Pretty soon we'll be able to upload and show you exactly everything we're working on. Hopefully you'll like it. Now, that being said, on our previous video, we showed you how we made it the Tesla motor to the transfer case, and how we made that single unit, we mounted that single unit under the vehicle. And if you remember, we just mounted it by the transfer case. We hadn't had a motor mount up yet. We now have 2 motor mounts that one keeps it from torquing, and the other one actually makes it to the bottom of the frame. So, and if you remember, we used rigid steel spacers that were hollow just for space purposes, just to kind of give us a gauge of where it was going to, how high it was going to sit for under carriage clearances. If you remember, we said we were using steel because we hadn't had rubber ones. So we now have these rubber ones. These are our rubber motor mounts, and we've replaced those steel hollow spacers with solid spacers now. So now we've got our motor mounts. We've got solid spacers that make sure that they won't kind of give or torsion under pressure. So now that being said, we've got our cap back for the inverter. If you remember, we were talking about where we were going to mount the inverter. So now that we've got our space designated for where we're going to mount it, we've since got our cap designed, and it's pretty interesting. I think you'll like what you see. So let me show you what we've got. So this is how a Tesla motor comes. Imagine these 2 pieces sandwiched together, okay? And then there are 2 CV axles that come out of either end, all right? Take these barbs off. These are what we put on because we were going to mount this as one unit, as one whole piece, but for space reasons, we decided to go with another design. So, and this is something else we came up with right here. These aren't going to be there, because what happens is these bus bars slide inside of here, and then they connect from your inverter to your motor. Okay, so what we decided to go with was, so inside of this housing is this. That's your pinout that goes to your motor controller, just like right there. It's just not covered, okay? Your DC side, which the bolts go down and bolt into, inside of here. So this will go on top like such, and then that's how it works. It goes like that and then bolts to your than your motors bolt, your DC side bolts to it. All right. That being said, that is inside of this housing. All right. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to set this up like such. All right. So this plate goes over top of here, and then this inverter bolts to this plate through the bottom side of it and to these routed holes right here. See these holes that are routed and configured in certain design? Well, the same thing is done on here. Those same holes are routed so that the bolts can go through here, through this bottom of your inverter, right where the coolant passages meet, into here. Of course, there are going to be O-rings in here, just like they're in there, and that's what caps this inverter off. And this is what you call the AC side to your O-ring. That's your three connections that your three bus bars that go out to the motor side. Now, after this is done, and that AC side goes through there, those three leads go through here, then this, of course, is all bolted together. This is going to cap, this is your cover. This is going to seal it inside. So the inverter is going to be inside of there, and this seals it off, and all of that extra stuff where from the old Archaic plate where you held the gear housing for the differential, none of that's needed now. And your coolant lines will still flow like they're supposed to. Now, on the back side of this, as you see, there's a passage that's routed in there. That's where an O-ring is going to go to separate your input from your output flowing, your flow. This sits right on top of that as such, and then that's going to bolt there, and your barbs are going to go right here. Two barbs are going to go there, and then they're going to have coolant hoses attached to the barbs. That's going to be, one's your input and one's your output. All right, now for mounting. So as I covered before, this is the bottom side right here. And of course, this is the bottom cap that connects your coolant lines. So it's going to sit in this orientation. Inverter will be inside of here. This will cap it off. As I mentioned, the AC side comes out of there, and this is the DC side. So this is the side where the wires go in. That's where you bolt them, and that is the pinout that connects to the motor controller. And all of this has their watertight seals. Now this thing isn't completely impervious to water, but it's watertight enough to where, and it's going to be raised inside the cavity between the battery box and the motor enough to where it's the sides that count, where everything that could be exposed will be roughly 2.5, 3 feet off of the ground. So it's going to be pretty high up there, and it'll be pretty safe up in its little cubby, away from where it could get banged from debris from going off-road, or where it could get completely submerged in water. And so that's our plan for mounting this thing here.